couldn't be a Netflix show without a little drama and
Yeah.
probably actually a lot of drama. So I want to get into this bachelorette party because at the
Oh
bachelorette
my gosh.
I can see you're nervous. It's okay. At the bachelorette party, Alexis asked you if you could see yourself with Jake, and you couldn't
Yes.
seem to answer the question. And
Mhm.
Shanique said that you were putting your feelings ahead of hers. Do you really feel like you were, or was it a matter of it just being freaking uncomfortable because you're saying this in front of Shanique and you're supposed to have all these answers to all these questions about your future and you haven't had time to process them?
Yeah. And on top of that, it's a bachelorette party. So drinks were flowing, we're partying, we're trying to celebrate Alexis and Hunter. So I was very drunk by that point. And then it was uncomfortable for me. And you'll see it also as well with, girls' night. Like I didn't really like talking about my connection with Jake in front of April. I felt like it was extremely disrespectful. So, when they're asking me like, well, how are you feeling? One, I wasn't quite sure how I felt. And two, I didn't really want to say it in front of April. I just wanted to focus on Alexis and Hunter's, engagement.
But do you feel like April, she's such a firecracker. Do you feel like April blew up at Alexis and left because she felt intimidated or threatened, not by you necessarily, but by you and Jake's connection and how strong it really was? I mean, I feel like even as a fan, I could sense it from the moment you guys kind of laid eyes on each other.
Yeah. I think for April, she was kind of like, that part of the experience is done. We're back with our original partners. That's what we need to be focusing on. And I think that's why April just was not having it, for that conversation. It was, we all kind of tried to immediately flip a switch when we switched back. Like, okay, we learned from those people that we had our trial marriages with. Let's get into this. Let's focus. Let's apply it to our original partners. Let's like try to forget that happened and move forward. So I think having Alexis come back, because, her and Hunter getting engaged and leaving early, she's trying to get all caught up on everything and see how everybody's feeling. I think April just was kind of over it at that point, and Alexis was trying to catch up.
Well, you never answered the question. So now that I have you, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go for it. And I'm going to ask you, could you have seen yourself with Jake, and not someone like Jake with some of Jake's qualities and some of Jake's physical attributes, but with actual Jake?
I think that if I had met Jake in a different setting, that I could absolutely, see myself like being with him and talking openly about being with him. I think in that moment at the bachelorette party, I'm just like, I was just so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is kind of an uncomfortable thing, which is why the show is so great, because I feel like a lot of you really have such grace and class.
Yes.
And we're respectful, but also being very honest. But speaking of honesty, I have been waiting to have you on. Okay. We talked about Alexis and Hunter's engagement, but we have to talk about how we got there. Okay. Hunter proposed to her before at dinner, before you all even picked your new partners and got with all of them. But Nate and Lauren, okay, that caused the most drama that night because Nate kind of gets up in the middle of Colby's speech and proposes to Lauren.
Yes.
Walk me through that. What the hell was going on? And what do you think of that proposal?
Yeah. So, it's actually very sweet. Hunter, we of course, us sitting at the table, including Alexis, like none of us had any idea that Hunter was going to do that.
Right.
He made up his mind when they asked Hunter who he was going to choose. He was like, hey, I know, we're in this experience, but I really want to choose Alexis. So he had the ring, he had everything planned out, and he knew what he was going to do when he sat down at the dinner. Nate's proposal was more spontaneous. He didn't have it planned out beforehand the way that Hunter did. So we were all very shocked from Hunter and Alexis's, proposal. And then we were shocked again of Lauren and Nate's proposal. It was a lot to take in. We didn't know how we were going to move forward with, that's taking two couples out of the experiment. That's taking two choices away from the girls. That's taking two choices away from the guys. So we were sitting there at that table and we had no idea how we were going to go on as a group.
Do you think Nate would have proposed had he been picked by another girl first?
I'm not sure. That is something that I'm going to have to ask Nate. You see him, tell Madeline, I'm going to choose you. I think he was just feeling a lot of things. And that was just how it turned out.
was very chaotic
Yes.
from where I was sitting. Certainly very chaotic. And I felt
we
like
never got dinner. We never got to eat. We were supposed to eat. And we're just sitting there with our drinks. We were supposed to.
no food was given. Yeah, no food was given.
There
So
was
you're
food off to
starved.
the side and I could smell the food. And I was like sitting there and I was like, oh, a proposal. Okay. Another proposal. Oh my gosh. And me and Randall were both looking at each other and we were like, Randall was like, I'm hungry. And I was like, I'm starving. And there was so much drama going on. We actually all ended up leaving without ever eating at the choice dinner. We never got to eat.
Right. You're like, congratulations on your engagement, but I want the steak that's sitting right here next to me. Please, dear Lord, give me the steak. But, okay, let's get back to you. You were the one that gave Zay the ultimatum, like we said. However, you were also the one that eventually kind of broke things off with Zay, and you didn't find yourself to be the same Rae that you were previously before the show. What was the point in the experience that really made you realize that not only did you not want to be with Zay, but that you really were ready to kind of take this risk and be with Jake?
The night that Zay didn't come home, that was the absolute breaking point for me. My goal was to stay with him no matter what. As far as, giving the ultimatum goes, I kind of realized that's not a fair thing to do to somebody. And I wanted to be with Zay. And then, just kind of realizing that like, I was actually a very good communicator when I was in the right setting with somebody else. I realized how much we had to work on. And then, he really hurt my feelings when he didn't come home. And that's when I was like, and I saw some of the other couples, when they moved back in, reconnecting a lot better than we were. And I was just like, I think maybe for my happiness and Zay's happiness as well, we should just walk away from this.
Jake told April that he wasn't ready to get married. However, you two are together. So my question is, while you two do have a very strong visceral reaction and connection to each other, how did you leave someone who was not ready to get married for another person who's also not ready to get married?
I realized that I am not, maybe ready to get married. I think like I, brought up earlier with the timeline that I was trying to force my relationship into, that things can just flow.
Look at you, Rae. I mean, my God, it's transformation over here. That's why I love this show. Where do you see your relationship with Jake going from here? And has your timeline for marriage and children changed now that you're in a new relationship? I mean, I know you want to go with the flow, but have you just kind of pushed the timeline further and you're like, all right, 35 seems fine or something like that?
Yeah, I can't really speak to my relationship status. Like if I actually ended up in a relationship or not, we're going to have to wait for the show to air and for the reunion to air.
Is your timeline changed at all? Or are you just going with the flow now, Rae?
I'm going with the flow.
Well, what can you tease me for this incredible reunion that I know it's going to be? Is it just as chaotic as the season? Do we get a lot of, okay. Do we get a lot of like questions answered, or is there still like a lot of questions up in the air after we watch this?
I can't say too much, but I will say that the reunion is everything that the viewers are going to be wanting, because a lot of questions are answered. A lot of things are addressed. And then there's a lot of, meltdowns and arguments and drama. And then you get to kind of see where everybody is at. So I think it's a perfect reunion.
Makeups and meltdowns. Rae, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see how the reunion goes. You look really happy, and I'm so proud of you to go through this journey. And thanks for being
so much. Thank you for having me.
People, you can stream the full season of The Ultimatum, Marry or Move On right now on Netflix.